Hey everyone, Ben here from Ben and Danielle Reviews, and today I wanted to talk about some games. And more specifically, I wanted to look back at a video that I did previously in the early days of the channel. I did this with my girlfriend at the time, Alex, and we talked about 10 games that we wanted to play the most from my collection. That was about 2 years or so ago, 2.5-ish. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to check that video out during our early days of the channel where things weren't so polished and we didn't really know what we were talking about it back at that time. But we had a whole bunch of games that we wanted to get played. I wanted to talk briefly about that list, see what games have been played. I'm ashamed to say that not all of them did get to the table, but I did play a good amount of them, and I wanted to talk about that list, see where I'm at now. The idea came by in my mind because Sharita and I are planning to do our top 10 games from my Shelf of Shame, games that she hasn't played from my collection and games I haven't played from my collection. So I wanted to look back at the ones I did previously, the previous list I did, and talk about that. All right, starting off with number 10. Number 10 was Paladins of the West Kingdom. So at that time, I really loved Architects. I enjoyed Paladins. I wanted to try Viscounts. I wanted to try Paladins. I heard it was the hardest one of the three to play, so I was a little bit hesitant to get it to the table. I ended up playing it solo because at the time Alex didn't want to play it with me, just because it was so challenging. I enjoyed it. It's not one that I break out a lot. I can't really say that I remember playing it more than that one time, just because of how hard it is to learn how to play, and then I have to relearn how to play it every time. And so I'm hoping at one point Sharita and I will play it together, but we will see. Paladins of the West Kingdom. Number 9 was Galaxy Trucker. Galaxy Trucker is a real-time space ship theme game where you're in real time building up your spaceship, and once all the players are done with that, or when the time runs out, you're going to take that spaceship and you are going to race around the solar system or the galaxy and picking up different items, different resources, and you are going to be fighting off space pirates and meteors and not have your ship destroyed if you can help it. It's a fun game. I have the app for it, and it does play a lot quicker on the app, which I enjoy. Also, it doesn't get played a lot because not a lot of people have played real-time games in our group, and so that kind of concept of, oh, there's actually no turns, people are actually just all playing at the same time, it's hard for some people to grasp. But it's a fun game though, Galaxy Trucker. So number 8 was Cthulhu Death May Die. So Cthulhu Death May Die is a big box Cthulhu game. So, if you've seen my top 50 videos each year, you know how highly rated Mansions of Madness is. So I wanted to get Cthulhu Death May Die to give that a try, see if that would replace Mansions of Madness, because I always thought that Mansions of Madness was quite long for the experience. And the semi-co-op thing can be frustrating for some people, so I thought maybe like a straight co-op or a more straight co-op. Hasn't gotten to the table yet. It's definitely one I still want to get played very soon if we can. I'm hoping this year is the year, but I'm crossing my fingers for that. We'll see about that though. Cthulhu Death May Die. Number 7 is a Stefan Feld game called Notre Dame. So Notre Dame, I can't really tell you too much about it because I haven't played it yet. But I know it's one that's been talked about on the Dice Tower quite a bit. Z Garcia from the Dice Tower talks about it a lot. It's a good Euro game. Hope to get it to the table. I've thought about bringing it to game night a couple times, but I don't know. Just every time I have free time, I just haven't learned how to play it. Number 6 was Lorenzo Il Magnifico. So I finally got to play this for the first time a few weeks ago. And boy, I had high hopes for this game, and it definitely lived up to those high hopes for sure. Lorenzo Il Magnifico is a dice worker placement game, and that takes place during the Italian Renaissance. And you have family members, which are worth a certain number of certain value according to the dice that were rolled at the beginning of the round. You have these servants you can spend to increase their value, and you are going to be collecting different buildings and character cards, and you're building up victory points, military strength, and faith points to appease the church. And you have your buildings that you're going to be activating for different effects. You're collecting resources to get more buildings and activate different effects. It's a fun Euro game, and it was one that I was definitely looking forward to trying, and it did not disappoint. Lorenzo Il Magnifico. Number 5 is Dinosaur Island, so it's like a big box dinosaur park game. Basically a Jurassic Park in a board game form without the IP. Really looking forward to it. I have not gotten it to the table yet, but there's definitely been some times where I've considered breaking it out. It's just learning how to play it and actually like getting someone to sit down and actually play it. I don't know if solo is the way to go with this for me, just because I haven't been playing too many solo games, but it's definitely one I want to check out pretty soon if I can. Number 4 is Baron Park. So Baron Park is another sort of like zoo game, but this is based around bears. So koala bears, grizzly bears, polar bears, and black bears, and you are running your own bear park. And it's polyomino shaped. So in this game, you are going to be placing different polyomino shaped pieces on your board. You're going to have one on your turn, and you're going to place it on your board. And then when you place it, it's going to cover up certain symbols. Those symbols will give you either new tiles or land tiles for your park, or it's going to give you new tiles to place on future turns. And you're just placing tiles to get more tiles, and you're just trying to get the most amount of points. Very simple game. It's one that I enjoyed playing it when I first started playing it, but it's not one that I break out too often. Pretty much just if someone hasn't played it before, I'll break it out and teach it to them, but it's not one that I really go to if we're just going to choose a game for game night. Unless someone suggests it, not one I suggest myself. All right, number 3 is Terraforming Mars. So Terraforming Mars is a big game in which a card game in which players play as corporations working together to make Mars inhabitable to humans. But each player is playing as a corporation that's doing it for selfish reasons, because they want to have their corporation be prosperous and make money off the inhabitants inhabiting Mars for people. So I have not played this one yet. I will say I played the small box, so I got the big box because it was a good deal on Amazon, I believe, and I was definitely intimidated by it, and so it sat on my shelf for a long time. And then Ares Expedition came out, and I heard that is a more accessible version of Terraforming Mars, and so I've been playing that one instead, just because with our game nights we have to have something that's a little bit more accessible for our gamers. I might play the Terraforming Mars once, see how I feel about that, but I don't know, I don't see it really taking over Ares Expedition, just because the Race for the Galaxy system and of action points, action selection in Ares Expedition is a cool concept, and I appreciate the fact that you get the kind of the same experience in a smaller package and a shorter playtime. Number two is Lost Ruins of Arnak. So Lost Ruins of Arnak is a game I've played solo at first, and then been recently playing it with Sharita. She really loves that game. I really enjoyed it. It was in my top 20, but Lost Ruins of Arnak and we actually also played it this past week as well at Game Group, and that was a good time. We played a 3-player game, Sharita and I and one other girl, and everyone seemed to really enjoy that. that has played it so far. But Lost Ruins of Arnak is a deck building worker placement game where you have 2 workers every round, and you're going to place them on the board either to at a campsite to collect resources, or you're going to put them on send them on an expedition to collect some sort of treasure, I guess you can call it. Different like tablets and arrowheads and gems. And then with that, you're also going to encounter guardians, which you need to, in order to defeat them, you have to pay a certain amount of resources to do so. And it'll be worth points once you defeat them. But you also have these fear cards in your deck. They kind of weigh down your deck. All they're really good for is for very limited movement by foot. And it kind of stops you from drawing better cards that can actually be useful for you. But you also have this research track you go up, and that's going to be getting you a lot of points. That's where the bulk of your points are going to be coming from. Researching your findings and spending your resources to do so. Lost Ruins of Arnak. I want to get the 2-player campaign that they have. There's an expansion that plays a 1 to 2-player campaign. I want to try that with Sharita at some point if that's something that she's interested in, because I know both of us really enjoy that game a lot. And number 1, my most anticipated game back in 2021 was a game called The Isle of Cats. So The Isle of Cats is a polyomino a tile game. It's card drafting, but you're drafting cards, and you're going to be using those cards, drafting different goals and different boots and nets to capture these cats and Tetris them on your board, because they're all polyomino shapes, and you're trying to touch like colors together to create families of cats and trying to get the most amount of points. It was a game that I greatly enjoy. It's not my favorite game from this list, but it's definitely in my top 50, and I really, really enjoy this game. I do believe it can get a little long with higher player counts, so it's something I definitely keep in mind. I have the boat expansion, which plays up to 6 then, because out of the box it plays up to 4. But it does make the game go a lot longer, so if there's a way to make the game a little snappier at higher player counts, I would love that. But it's a game that does accommodate a lot of players. It just takes a while to play for the kind of experience that you're getting. And that's the Isle of Cats. So those are my top 10 games from back in 2021 that I wanted to play the most. As you see, not all of them hit the table, but a good majority of them did. And I look forward to new games coming out every year. I know I can't get every game that comes out. I also can't play every game that comes out every year, so I have to really be selective on what I actually do play and what I do buy. I know my Shelf of Shame is getting out of hand at this point, and I need to start playing some more games, but I will continue to talk about them as I play them. And thank you everyone for watching. Have a great rest of your day.